On the training Tuesdays this morning, we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to go through the sneak peek of the version 15 of Bidbuy, so that's really exciting. We're really excited to be able to roll that out. You're going to get a sneak peek of that today. There will be plenty of training over the next couple months, but we just want to give a sneak peek out there for you guys can take a look. There will be a new required field in Bidbuy, which is called the Notice of Award Amount. We'll talk about that. The sole source hearing information form, we've received some feedback that that form isn't necessarily being used in the right way, so we want to talk about that. We added 2 more dates in January for Bidbuy monthly training. We try to do 1 or 2 of those, but with the new version 15 coming out, we felt it was appropriate to add a few more. So now we will have 4 that are available in January. We'll add some more in February. I'm hoping to be able to announce those dates by next week. And then a reminder, all releases off Masters do go into Bidbuy. There was a question last week, and I just wanted to reiterate for those that maybe weren't on the call last week or haven't had a chance to check out the video. All releases off Masters go into Bidbuy, no matter what. That is where that procurement vehicle is taking place. And then we'll, as usual, have our little fun fact. So, Bidbuy version 15 is coming soon. So, go live is going to be early 2020. At this point, we are looking at late January. Can you guys not hear me? I just got a message saying, "Are you talking?" Maybe there's some sort of issue. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, if you can't hear me, I'm not really sure. Looks like everybody else can. Okay, so Bidbuy version 15. Testing is underway, so we're trying to, do all that testing. All the SPOs and some agency staff will be solicited as well. If you would like to help us out by doing some testing, please email the CPOGS training email that I'll show you at the very end. Really, the more people that we have helping with the testing, the quicker it's going to go, and we can identify any potential problems sooner rather than later. And really, when we say testing, what we're doing is we're going through the job aids, and we're going to do every procurement method with every potential possible combination for all those fields, custom column fields, those sorts of things. So it's just to make sure that we don't run into a situation where we go live and then, hey, you guys try to do an IFB and then we get some funky errors or something like that. So we're doing all that testing to make sure that we have a smooth transition from version 13 to version 15. Like I said, the go live is probably going to be late January, early February. We haven't set a specific date for that. You guys will certainly know as soon as we identify the specific date. But for right now, that's kind of our target time. Of course, we're going to be training on all the different changes, all the highlights. Today, I'm not going to do a deep dive. I really did just want to, like I always say, we want to keep these short and sweet, but I did want to get your eyes on it, and so you can just, a little peek into what it's going to look like. But I'm not going to do a deep dive today. However, I am going to be doing in the coming weeks just a webinar. I'll record it. I'll probably do it on one of these Tuesdays coming up, but I will let you know ahead of time that, hey, this is going to be a longer Tuesday meeting or a longer training Tuesday. And then I will record it. It'll be posted out there, and so I'll actually walk through more of a deep dive and some of the highlights, some of the changes that you'll be seeing in the version 15. All agencies are going to go live on the same date. This will not be the same as it was last time when we rolled out Bidbuy for the first time. It is on a specific date. You're going to go to work one morning and you're going to pull up Bidbuy, and it's going to be the new version for all agencies. Okay, so I'm going to loop back and do the sneak peek after we hit a few of these other things that we needed to talk about. So there will be a new field in Bidbuy at the PO stage. It is going to be required. You may have seen it now as you're going through and completing your POs because we did put it out there so we could start talking about it. However, it's not required just yet. It's going to be called the Notice of Award Amount. This is going to include all the renewal terms. It really should match the NOA that's attached at the bid. So that'll be something that SPOs will be looking at when they double check and approving at the PO, is that notice of award amount is matching the notice of award attached at the bid. Now the difference between the full SAP contract value, see that field that's right above it? The full SAP contract value is the contract value for that particular PO. Now the notice of award amount is going to include all those renewal terms. So you put out a multi-year contract, you have a contract 2 years with 3 renewals, etc. That notice of award amount is going to match what is on that NOA. And so this is all for reporting purposes. We will be able to report off this field so that all of your all your reports and everything should match them for the notice of awards that we have to do. So, and a quick note, the small purchases, we all know they don't actually require a notice of award, in the way that other procurement methods do. However, this field is still going to be required for small purchases. So you're just going to put in what that notice of award or what that amount of that small purchase is. And so once again, this is all going to be for reporting purposes. Now it's going to be a required field beginning December 6th. So, we have till next week. And the reason that we wanted to let everybody know now, and there will be another communication that's going to go out specifically to all SPOs and APOs, is so that, you don't have any POs that are in December 16th. So December 16th. So I'm not sure if I said December 6th. Sorry, December 16th. So that's going to be next week. It'll be required. And so if you have any of those POs, we want to give you a week here to be able to move them through. So, if it's sitting in a ready to send status, soon as that becomes required, you would have to go back and change that before being able to send it. So we want to give everyone a heads up that that's going to be a required field beginning December 16th. And like I said, another communication will be going out to all SPOs and APOs on this, just to make sure everybody's on the same page and you're not, you don't pull up a PO to send and all of a sudden you're getting an error. If for any reason you do get that error, because it will be a required field, you would have to do a change order to go back and add that amount. Okay. See, do I have a question? We have several POs which are sitting and waiting for a determination of construction versus repair and maintenance. How will these impact it? That is an excellent question. You know what? I'm not exactly sure. I'd hate to give you an answer that I'm just guessing. So I'm going to have to follow up, and I will contact you with that answer. And actually, you know what I'll do? I'll probably just follow up with everybody on the call today, so that way everybody has the same exact information. If you have a PO that's waiting for a determination, it will end up being a required field. So what could end up happening, and with the caveat that I'm gonna follow up for sure, but what I think would happen would be that it would be required. So you would have to just input it as a change order once that gets after December 16th. So if the determination isn't made between now and then, you would just simply have to go in and add that information from that ready to send after it's been required, before you could be able to send it out. But I will double check and get back to you on that. Okay, so the sole source hearing details form. So a quick reminder that this form needs to be attached to the bid when submitting it for approval. I provided a link here to that new form. It's a fillable PDF, and so it's one of those things where it is a requirement and needs to be there. I know in the past it is a fairly new practice, so if your agency hasn't utilized this form, go out and fill that out for any of your sole sources. And it's this has a lot of that information regarding it has to be publicly posted, a hearing needs to be requested by this date, etc. It's just a fillable PDF that needs to be a part of that bid. We added some new monthly. Looks actually, you know what? Let me go. Looks like we have a couple questions. Recently conducted an RFP where I was directed by the SPO to reflect just the initial term contract on the NOA, even though there are several years of optional renewals. Thus, my NOA amount matches up to the SAP value. Beginning the 16th, however, you noted we should reflect the renewal values in NOA amount. Can you reconcile this conflict? Yes. Yes, so on any notice of award, notices of award should include all renewal amounts. I may need to follow up with you and perhaps the SPO in that regard, but the notice of award should always include all renewal amounts because you are awarding the initial term as well as all renewal terms. And then another question, will job aids be reflected to reflect this new requirement? Yes, absolutely. So you will see new job aids because any required fields, anytime we change anything or add required fields, you're going to see those updated with the job aids. So this is a good time to remind everybody to always go out and check out the new job aids and make sure you're using the up-to-date version that's on the CPO site. So you will see new versions for all of those that have that, anything that's making a notice of award. So we added 2 new dates to the monthly Bidbuy training schedule, Thursday, January 16th, as well as Wednesday, January 29th. These are about 5.5 hours, 10 a.m. to 3:30, with a break for lunch, of course. They're in the Capital Development Board Computer Lab at the Stratton Building in Springfield. This is really perfect for those that are new to Bidbuy because we walk through some of the very, very basic stuff in Bidbuy. We walk through general navigation, what do all the buttons do, et cetera, how to do a release off master, as well as small purchases and that general workflow in Bidbuy. So you can email the cpogs.training@illinois.gov to register for those trainings. Like I said, we will have webinars and recordings available for everybody on the new version 15. So our fun fact for December 10th is today is the day you saw Bidbuy version 15 for the first time. Most likely. So why don't we go out and actually take a look at it. Sorry, I was kind of lazy about my fun fact this week. So let's go to Bidbuy. So this is what your home screen is going to look like. Some of the colors might change because we are in the dev environment here. So once we move to production, I'm guessing, I haven't seen the production environment yet, but I'm guessing, where it's purple, that's probably going to be blue. But everything else is going to be looking the same. I have another question. Will the Bidbuy training start to reflect the new version 15? Yes, thank you. Great question. Sorry, I meant to mention that. The trainings in January, we will be training on version 15, knowing that within a couple weeks or days, depending on which one you're registered in, we will be into version 15. But I do want to let everybody know too, if you are in Bidbuy and we are going to be doing some more webinars that are going to be specific to 15, so you are available to ask questions, etc., that you wouldn't need to necessarily have to show up for or register for the full day training, just because space is limited. So I don't want to waste anybody's time. If you just want to be able to see some of the changes, walk through some of the general navigational things. The general workflow in Bidbuy is still going to be exactly the same. You're still going to be going requisition to bid tab, purchase order. Even as I open up a couple things here in a second, you're going to see that, oh yeah, a lot of things are exactly the same. Now there are a couple new things. It's really just, what I really like about it is there aren't as many icons. It's just cleaned up a little bit on your home screen, and there's a couple new bells and whistles that we'll be talking about. But we will be doing the version 15 in that January training, yes, and moving forward. So on our home screen here, and I'm just going to walk through a few things just to kind of show you a couple things that are very similar to the ones in the past, or the version 15 in the past. From the top left, moving over, you have your drop down here, your home screen. If you want to add a document, you hit the plus sign. This opens up, if I want to create a new requisition, create a bid solicitation, purchase order, etc. We have the search function on the top here that has a drop down. So if I want to search, I can go search directly via any of those terms through a catalog, bid solicitations, POs, recs, quotes, vendors. So that was very similar. This catalog functionality is, if I want to, it's similar to the quick buy function that was in version 13. So if I wanted to, search for a master contract, let's see, what did I look? I think I looked up paper. Now over here on the left-hand side, you see the types of contracts. We see on contract, off contract. Those are the two that we would use. On contract just means that's a master contract that we already have. Off contract would be it was a PO that was a result of a open market solicitation. So for instance, I want to do paper. I can go look. I have my contract number here, and this it functions more like a cart. So let's say, hey, I want to add 15 of those. I want to add it to the cart. And then what I really like about this is, it's almost like you're doing more of an online shopping, where then I go to the cart, I update my cart if I need to, and then if I click add to new rec, now I have a new requisition already set up to do a release. So normally, we'd go in and it adds the items here. So there's our items that was as a result of us going in and doing more of a shopping cart sort of situation. So that's great. I really like that. I like the way that works. It kind of operates more the way we shop online, etc. But if you look at some of these fields, these are all fields that you see every day in Bidbuy version 13. Okay, so none of that is changing. It just looks a little different. You can see we still have some of our general validation errors, those sorts of things. You're still going to be walking through general tab, items tab, your vendors tab. So all of that functionality is still going to be exactly the same. Address, accounting, right? So we still have all those sorts of things. We still have to go in and click not applicable for our accounting. And we'll still say based on percentages, rebuild for all items. So all of this is really, we are moving into a new version, but as you can see, it's not completely different from our version 13. Just looks a little different, etc. So if we go back up to, I'm just going to go back to my home screen now. So like I said, you can search through your drop down here. You have your advanced search. You can always search for your advanced search. I really like that. I use the advanced search all the time. So rather than having the small little magnifying glass up in the right hand corner there, you have a nice big advanced search. So this operates the same exact way that the other advanced search did. So that's great. Moving over to our right, our alerts. You have your events, reminders, system messages are all there. Really, all these four icons up here, they just were cleaned up. So you're going to see, reports, vendor notification, dashboard reporting, your ad hoc reporting. Each one of these was its own little icon in the version 13, and now it's kind of cleaned up into these other ones. The vendor notification works in terms of sending emails out to vendors, etc. Doing that way. Let's see next here to the right. So the help, this has the same, we had those 4 different icons in version 13. Now they're all up under that question mark. The about, the user manual is still there, customer service that automatically brings up your email to the help desk. The NIGP code browse is there. And then under your account is where you can switch between your roles. Basic purchasing, department access, inquiry, etc., etc. If you need to make changes to your account, You can always go into my account. None of that is changing. It's just kind of really where it's at is really the only difference there. Okay, so moving down, one of my big highlights here, and I think this is something that all of us are going to very much benefit from, is this recent documents. So anything that I have recently been working on, and it'll keep going down as well. If I click more, it'll just bring a big list up of all my recent documents. I think that's fantastic. That's something that we'll use all the time, because if you, as you know in Bidbuy, when you approve something or if you go away or something, you have to kind of go back to that document. So whether you knew the bid number, you had to do an advanced search to look up the description, or you had to find your way back to all your recent documents. Now, everything that you've touched in the last 30 days is what we're told. 30 days will just be a running list here. So that's going to be really handy for us. So for instance, hey, that was that rec that I was just looking at. I can go right back to it there. Our different color-coded icons up here, pretty self-explanatory. These are all the documents that are ready for approval, the ready for purchasing recs, the bids, etc., POs. If you click on any of those, you're going to go straight to those. It's just another way to find documents as well. And then if you look over to the left, like I said, if you click the top left corner, it's going to open this field up. But it's more of an icon thing to save some screen space over here on the left-hand side. You have your home screen, your requisitions. And this is very similar to, this will look familiar to everybody, right? You have opened up your requisitions. It's almost like that drop down in the in version 13, where you can still get to your ready for approval, requisitions, returned, ready for purchasing, etc. Once you open up these, you can change your dates, or just in terms of kind of resorting what you're looking at here for each one of these. Now, another thing that I really like too, I think this will be really helpful, is on each one of these lists, if you look in the right hand corner, you can see view mine, because this is me as the purchaser, but I can toggle between view mine and view all. So this is going to be really helpful, I think. Certainly for approvers, running, I can just view just what's mine is going to be. So that's something that you'll find it'll be really nice as well. Click into the ready for approval here, or my approvers. Oh yeah, we did talk about that. So down on the bottom, let's go back to the home screen. You can see, your organization is always going to be there. This is something that was in the center of your screen at the top. Now they just moved it down to the bottom right. You also have your full bid time here. Let's see. Can you talk about all the icons on the left menu ribbon? Has the reporting gotten easier to understand? Okay, so walking through down all of these, we aren't using the invoices, we aren't using the credit memos, receipts. So it really is very similar to what it was in the past. If I pull up purchase orders, I can see all the purchase orders that are in progress. I see the purchase orders that are ready for approval in all those different statuses. So that is all very similar to version 13. We go to bids. Once again, you can see all the bids. You can see as a purchaser, as a buyer, you can see all of view mine, or if I want to go to view all within this organization. So it's all still within organization. So I should be clear with that. When I say view all, it's view all within, I'm in CMS's org right now, but as a end user or as a buyer, I could say, no, I just want to see my stuff as a buyer. For the view all option, will that show all items requested through the facility or all facilities? So it is, as I understand it right now, it is your entire organization. Because you can see here that there are different departments, different locations here. Now what you could do is, if you change the, if I click the department location, it's just changing the alphabetical order of that. So at least it would you would be able to identify your facility quicker by clicking on that, and then you could go straight to, at the section of your department or location. In terms of the reporting, there's a question here about reporting. I'm not going to do a deep dive into that just because that's something we'll have to do a separate training for. But I haven't seen the reporting functionality. That's going to be something that I'm going to dive into here in the coming weeks. But I will be certain to let everybody know. And the reporting function will probably be a whole separate training because I know some of you just don't use the reporting functionality, and some of you will probably, that'll be something that's going to be really helpful for you. So we'll kind of have that be its own thing. Let's see. We have another question. With the new SAP system coming in January 1st, are we just purchasing through Bidbuy through the end of December, or continuing to order through Bidbuy and SAP? So all releases, all procurement activity does need to take place in Bidbuy. If you are, certainly, like I said, all the releases off master happen within Bidbuy, and then continue to order through Bidbuy and SAP. So yes, if you are not using the interface, and some agencies have chosen to, do it procurement in Bidbuy and then manually input it in SAP as well. Releases off master do not go through the interface, so they would have to be. They do need to be in Bidbuy no matter what. So if I'm not answering that question correctly, please let me know. Or if I'm not answering your question in the way that you need if it's not clear, let me know. But all releases off master have to go in Bidbuy. Bidbuy is the procurement file, etc., for all of those procurements. So all your procurement activity is taking place within Bidbuy. Okay, so I know there's going to be a lot more questions. We're coming up on 30 minutes here. Thanks for taking the time. This was just a quick little sneak peek, and we are going to be following up with lots more training. I know there'll be a lot more questions about the new system, and we are going to do our best to answer them as quickly as we can. I do have a couple questions that I will need to be following up on, so I'm going to reach out to our team and get that answered, and I will follow up as I send out the slides for today's training and answers just to a couple of those questions. Do we have any other general questions? Like I said, we'll do a deep dive later. All right, not seeing any questions. I'll go ahead and finish the call. I guess everybody just have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks a lot. Bye, guys.